Throwaway account. So me, 26F, and my husband, 28 meters, who I'll call Jake for this story, have been together for 5 years and married for 3. We have recently started trying for a baby as we both felt like that was the next step in our life together, and 3 weeks ago I got a positive test back. We were really happy and told our families, and now my mom and Mill want to throw a big baby shower for us. It was just super good news all around. Well, 2 nights ago me and Jake were getting ready for bed when he reminds me to go through the house and make sure all the lights are off. Now he can be a little lazy at times, and it has become a nightly routine for me to make sure all the lights are off that he leaves on before we go to bed. I wasn't feeling very well and asked if he could just do it since he wasn't doing anything and was literally standing by the door. He then tells me no, this is what is expected of you every night. I was a little hurt but I didn't want to fight with him so I just did it. When I came back Jake goes on this very long and unprovoked rant saying things like just because you are pregnant does not mean anything will change and you are still expected to cook, clean, and do all the chores every day because how can you be expected to be a mother if you can't handle a little work? He wasn't yelling or anything, he was talking to me quietly like I was 2 inches tall. I was shocked because I had never heard him say anything like this. The rant went on for about 30 minutes before I interjected and asked, well, what do you plan on doing to help me with all of this? He then got extremely defensive saying he works his ass off at his job to provide for me and what is going to be our future children. For context, I don't work ATM, my job was not paying enough to justify me going so I am a full-time college student. He ended by saying that it doesn't matter how I feel physically or mentally, it is a mother's job to push through. And if he helped and babied me I wouldn't be a good mother. I got extremely upset and started yelling and I said that I wish I would have known this is how you felt before I got pregnant with your baby. There was a moment of silence before he started crying and he left for the night to stay at his mother's house. He hasn't been back yet and my Mill and Sil have called me berating me and saying I broke Jake's heart with what I said and I need to apologize immediately. And until I do he isn't coming home. I don't know how to feel. So Ada for yelling at my husband after he said he isn't helping me with anything during the pregnancy because it's a mother's job to deal with it. Edit. First I want to thank you all for your responses. I'm sorry I haven't really responded to anyone specifically but I really do appreciate you guys. A few of you asked if I told my Mill and Sil what he said, which I did. They basically said I was being sensitive and all he meant was pregnancy isn't an excuse to be lazy, he meant no harm, okay. I am getting some things together and am going to be headed to my mom and dad's house. My mom is furious with him and doesn't want me apologizing to him or talking to him without the situation either being recorded or having a witness. Regardless, I am okay and will be okay. I do appreciate all of you though, you have opened my eyes to many things I may have been ignoring or looking past over the years. Updated. Throwaway account because she uses Reddit. My M25 girlfriend, F30, Nat has a very particular sense of style. Picture Harley Finkel from Wizards of Waverly Place, you will get the idea. Don't get me wrong, I never had a problem with that. In fact, I love the way she dresses because she loves to do so, and I am happy if she is happy. The thing is, sometimes she likes to incorporate memes into her clothes. No problem. It's cute. But now she wants to wear a dress inspired on the meme gay rat wedding. To my friend's wedding. He and his fiancée are gay. I told her, maybe that is not really appropriated. The dress in question would be full of little stuffed rats, pride flags and a big "I support gay rats" on the front. My friend is not a big fan of the way my GF dresses and I think this dress may cause a certain uproar in the wedding. Now, Nat is upset with me and claiming that I am throwing water in her flame of creativity. The wedding is next month, so she has plenty of time to think about another thing to wear. Should I just let her go with the dress? Am I the asshole in this situation? Update. Well guys, as many of you pointed out in the comments, me getting a throwaway account didn't help. She found the post. Guess I was too specific after all. I will update soon. Final update. Hello everyone. I would like to thank you all for your judgment, advices and opinions on my post, it was greatly appreciated. So, the conversation did not go well. She was livid with me for exposing her in this way, and although I showed her the comments, Most important, the ones from the LGBTQ community. She refused to admit that her dress was a poor choice, but in fact, her way to appreciate the gays. That did not sit well with me. Love can move mountains, but cannot maintain a relationship with a homophobic. So, now I am going to the wedding a single, rat-free dress, man. I did reach out to my friend and send him this post. He thought the situation to be hilarious, but if she did show up in the dress, he would def kick us to the curb. I guess this is all. Peas, I am deeply sorry for misspelling Harpy's name, won't happen again lol. My older brother, Ab, is a bit of a bum. It's mean to say but it's true. He can never hang on to a job for longer than a couple years max, and when he inevitably loses whatever job he had, he starts mooching off family and friends until he can find another job months later. This entails him freeloading at their place, eating their food, using their stuff, etc. He's lost friends because of how long he bummed off of them, and I don't blame them for cutting him off. Well, this last time he lost his job, he went to our parents, but they didn't have room because they were letting our eldest brother's, Eb, family stay with them after he and Sil lost their jobs out of nowhere within the same month. Eb's entire crew was laid off with zero warning, and Sil's work burned down, and they couldn't afford the home they were renting anymore. So Eb was pretty much Saul. So our parents, and uncle all started calling me asking if I'd take him in just long enough so he could get on his feet again. I, stupidly, let myself feel bad for him and said okay, but he only had a few months to get another job or he was out on the street. They all said of course, and so he came to stay with me. And it was a nightmare. He's a slop. He never washes dishes, never washes his clothes, and eats pretty much whatever he wants. I guess since I'm his little sister he figured he could ignore me saying to get his shit together. Well, after 6 months I told him he had to go. And gave him a couple weeks to find somewhere else. Well, it seems he called our parents and cried about me kicking him out, and they told him he knew he couldn't stay forever, but they also OFC called my aunts, uncle, and told them all about it. And my busybody aunt called me and scolded me for being cruel to my brother and abandoning family when they need help. I let her talk and finally said she was right, helping family was important, and I'm glad she showed me that. She seemed glad I understood the right thing to do before hanging up. So I followed her advice and packed my bro up and drove him to her house. I couldn't take care of him anymore, he was running all my bills up, but my aunt made a good point, family should help each other. So I dropped him off there. She has room since all her kids moved out, and then left. But I wasn't even halfway home before I was getting multiple calls from my parents and aunt. Parents were demanding to know why our aunt was blowing up their phones, and aunt was leaving voicemails shouting at me to come back and get my brother. I explained to my parents and they said it was a good idea since aunt sounded like she wanted to help, but my aunt called me an asshole and said she didn't want my brother there. And when I told her family helps each other, she called me a cunt. Last I checked he's still living with her. Ada? / Sorry for my lack of replies. I answered what ones I could before I left for work, and when I got back I had far too many to answer. Lots of people have been asking similar questions, so I thought answering them here once would be helpful. 1. My brother doesn't work menial jobs, he's not just hopping from one minimum wage job to another. He's working very good paying jobs. Like electronic repair, automotive maintenance, etc. He's very skilled but lazy. 2. No, my aunt hasn't spoken to me since she called me a cunt then hung up on me. 3. My brother has only been with her about 3-ish weeks. He stayed with me for 6-7 months. 4. My brother was upset I was kicking him out initially, but in a better mood when he realized I had another place lined up for him to stay. Not sure how they're doing together since I haven't talked to either since after I dropped him off. 5. No, my aunt isn't married anymore, her and my uncle got divorced and he lives with his new wife, but I heard from dad that he thought this all was hilarious. /edit 2- To everyone who has been hounding me through PM and in the comments, my brother isn't, last time we checked, neurodivergent, nor does he have AD or ADHD. Our mom took him to the doctor more than once around when he was 15-17 when his behavior was at its worst. According to our mom, the doctors all said he was perfectly healthy and fine, though the doctors, suggested he wasn't being mentally stimulated enough, aka he was bored. Mom wanted to take him to see other doctors, but by then he'd turned 18 and refused to go, and she couldn't force him. Also, it's been suggested he maybe see a doctor now, but my aunt doesn't seem at all interested. He's never had the highest respect for doctors or mental illness. He treats it like it's fake. When our baby sister was diagnosed with an ED when she was 19, he just cracked a joke about her just wanting a doctor's note so she could eat more. My 18M parents planned on being a child-free couple, but because of religious beliefs they kept me even if I was an unwanted pregnancy. I don't remember when exactly I was told, but I always knew that I would be expected to move out as soon as I reached 18 years old. I have been working and saving since I turned 13 and have a respectable amount in a savings account. Now, to be fair to my parents, they provided for me financially, they were distant emotionally, but they have never been abusive. A week before my 18th birthday, January 13th, they sat me down and asked if I have found a place to move into yet. I said yes, and that was the extent of the conversation. I was planning to live in an apartment with 4 other guys, but a friend's family heard about it and offered me their finished basement with separate access for a very cheap price, $150 a month, utilities included, no down payment required. So I jumped at the opportunity, even though I know it is a pity offer. It is relevant that both his family and mine are of Indian descent. I moved out the day after my birthday and my parents haven't contacted me since. I admit that I did not reach out to them too. Yesterday my dad called to invite me to dinner. It was awkward even before they asked me to move back in, said I don't have to pay them rent or anything. But here's the thing, I like my new living situation, it lacks the awkwardness and tension that I didn't even know was there until I moved out. When I said no, politely at that in thanking them for the offer, my mother started crying and left the room, while my dad started scolding me and saying that their friends are excluding them because of the rumor that they threw me out and another Desi family had to take me in. I said that that was exactly what happened, and it isn't my job to save them from the consequences of their actions and decisions. Now my whole extended family is calling me non-stop and saying I am being an So Ada? Edit. First, I want to thank you all for the kind comments and well wishes. I was hesitating for a moment there and you all made me feel so much better about my decision. I read every comment and appreciate every award. Didn't think this post would explode like this, but I am happy because of all the nice comments. To answer a question that was asked by a lot of my fellow Desi Redditors, I think my parents thought that I would be moving with strangers and they could say that I was trying to be independent and they were supportive of that. But when I moved with people from the community they couldn't pretend anymore. Also, I think the auntie and uncle I live with are the ones who told people about the situation. They are extremely nice and were very upset about what my parents did. They have offered me to live with them as long as I wish and were not even going to accept any rent except I insisted.